Hey y'all, it's Crystal from Triple C Creations Crafting, coming to you from the beautiful North Georgia mountains, and it is a cold November 1st. Even though it's November, the first day of November, I have been making Christmas cards for a couple of weeks, and let me show you why. So a friend of mine from church brought me old Christmas cards. Okay, this is one of those Dollar Tree baskets, a little collapsible folding basket. I actually had two of these when I started. I put some 6x6 paper in the front, but the rest of this is Christmas cards. And like I said, I did have two of these when I first started. So they had already cut out like the name of the person it was from, but other than that, the card was intact. So I went through, the first thing I did, and this is typically the first thing I do with all of my Christmas cards, and I cut them apart. I cut the front off the Christmas card. That leaves me with the back. Now, I'm going to start talking about the back first. No, actually, I'm not. So I did that, but let me tell you what I have, my supplies I have gathered, because that's going to fall into what I did with the back. If you've watched any of my other recycling Christmas cards, I really just made them into gift tags or ephemera pieces for other cards. So with this, and it was kind of very basic. Like I used my dies. I have a stack set. I think it's called stacked, or a layered set, where it's all different shapes of tags. Okay. And then I have these, they're like tickets. I also have some frames, just some basic shapes. And so I would use those. Now, I will say I liked doing it in my dies. It was kind of, I don't know, maybe kind of slow. But let's say, for example, here's actually part of a Christmas card. But if there was multiple things in there that I wanted to get a tag on, I could lay them, I could lay them all out at once and kind of plan it at the same time. Obviously, I would not want that. But I would do that, and I might cut, several at the same time. Now, I did limit that, only maybe 2 or 3 of these are actually like the size big enough that I could use for a tag. The rest of them were kind of small, so again, they made ephemera. Also, kind of a flaw with these, I feel like, is the hole is tiny, so I always had to punch another hole. But I digress. Okay, so that was typically my thing. Now, I invested in this, and I really, I looked at this for a long time. I think it was only $10. Okay, it doesn't sound like a lot. I feel like it was only $10. I don't think I paid $20 for it. I might have. I should have probably checked. But what I like about this is it says up to 2.5 inches wide, all the way down to 1.5 inches. So it's 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and 2.5. But let me tell you, really anything in between 1.5 inches and 2.5 that you can fit in here, you just balance it between, you just kind of like eyeball it to get it in the center, and you can punch it. So I love this. It's so much faster. It has a larger hole. It kind of like bevels out the hole a little bit. So if I wanted to add like a hole protector, like a double decorative hole protector, I could. Doesn't do anything with the bottom. So then I just take a corner rounder and round it. Now let me show you some other punches that I have gotten. I think most of these I've gotten this year. Like I got them this summer. I got one just recently. I think I had these two maybe last year when I made videos, or I know I've had these two for a little while, a little bell and a snowman punch. Okay. So if I have, depending on my paper, especially after I've cut out tags, like little bits and pieces that, it's like it's a really cool paper. Maybe even on the bell, like if there's like a small shape, I could even do the bell. So I've had those two. Then this summer, when I was on vacation, I had a huge Goodwill haul. And in that, I got these two border punches. So this one is, it's a Friskers, and it is Holly. And then this one is EK Success, and it is Snowflakes. And bonus, when you punch these out, not only do you get the border, but you also get these tiny pieces that you could use even in shaker cards or as your own like ephemera if you wanted to. Okay, so I got those two border punches. I also got this corner rounder. Look at the snowflakes, y'all. Now, you do have to be It won't punch super thick paper because it is so intricate. I feel like I had another one that was snowflakes and it was froze. And so I ended up having to, I never could get it unfroze despite my best efforts, my husband's best efforts. My son actually tried it and ended up breaking it, like broke the metal. So, this was not one from this summer. So these two are ones I have gotten recently. And they both came from Goodwill. Yes, I think I got both of these on the same trip because they had a couple of these. I don't know what brand these are. Oh, this is EK Success 2, and so is this. So I found some stuff at another Goodwill, local Goodwill, a couple of weeks ago, and I did not, be proud of me, y'all, I did not buy every punch they had because some of them were just not things I would use. Now, I really debated on this one, but what sold me on this one is it reminded me of a stamp. Some of the ones I didn't get were just squares. They were just like small squares. But this one is a stamp. And so I think stamps are cute. And if you're already looking up here at my little pile, you will see those. So those are kind of my things I pulled out. And yeah, I don't know why that's here. Okay. What else? Well, I've got my glue. So this is my stuff I'm getting ready to go. I've got my regular glue. And I will say that I have switched from my art glitter glue. I did love the art glitter glue, but y'all, the problem was if I didn't craft every single day, then it was clogging up on me. And it just got to the point that I was getting frustrated. We also were I was trying to get some card making like ready at church, and I knew I needed a way for like to have multiple people with liquid glue. So let me show you what I switched to. Alright, so at Hobby Lobby, this is the AdTech Fine Line Liquid Glue. Now, it comes in, it does have an applicator, but, you know, that's just not fine line enough for what I need. So, I got these bottles. And I will say I have bought both kind. I have got the kind with the needle, which is like my art glitter glue. And then I've got this kind with the silicone top. This is what I bought for church, and they worked great. We didn't have any problems. I thought, well, I'm going to try this one. I craft more, you know, I don't know if the point's smaller. And I ended up, like, I still think I like this one better. So, it still seems like I get a little bit of drying out with this. So, that's my take on that. And, like, I will, this is, oh my gosh, this is super cheap. I think it's, like, less than $3. And, you know, I feel like sometimes maybe they run their adhesives like on sale. So, but even if not on sale, it is worth it. And I can fill up a lot of bottles. I can refill a lot of bottles with this. It does not dry as fast as art glitter glue. I will say that. But that's also kind of a plus because sometimes art glitter glue dried really before I could get the item where I needed it. Sometimes I wish this dried a little bit faster, but with the fine line, you are putting down so little glue, like such a small amount, that it does dry. I would say it dries fast. Okay, what else have I gathered besides glue? Oh yes, I have gotten these are dimensionables, or I don't know if that's the right word. These came, I don't know that these came from the Dollar Tree. I know the Dollar Tree has some like this, little square ones. This may have come in a kit to make shaker cards. So I'm not sure where I got these little squares, but you can get them different places. And then this is more foam. This does come from the Dollar Tree out of the hardware section. It comes in a roll. And I'm not sure if I tore off a piece or if this is all that's left on that roll. I'm sure I have more. I make sure I try to keep like 2 extra rolls of this. I mean, it's a Dollar Tree, y'all. It may have gone up to $1.75. But it is still worth it. And I can even cut it down if I need, you know, a smaller piece or a skinny piece or whatever. I want to make sure I go through everything. All right, now I could have printed these and I really thought about it, but I went to Hobby Lobby and, you know, at Christmas, all their Christmas stuff is 50% off. So I bought these 2 packs of words, Merry Christmas. Don't ask me what the sentiment, I guess. There we go. My brain's not working this morning. I hadn't had any caffeine. And there was a lot in each pack. Now, I didn't realize until I put one on that these are actually clear. So look at that. And they're foil. Both of them are foil. This one, I can even layer it on a little 1.5 scalloped circle if I want to, and have just the scallop hanging out. So I bought these. You know, sometimes you just can't make everything. And it was a good deal to buy them at 50% off. What else? What else? I'm trying to think. Oh, I do have a tape runner. You know, if I'm doing a large piece of paper, I like to use a tape runner. And, all right, I think that's it. So, again, previously my recycling Christmas cards has focused on just cutting them into tags, and I would make sets of tags, and I would give people, and then I would also use those tags for embellishments on cards. But let me show you what else I have been doing. So I talked about where I cut off the white of the card, the back of the card. Now I could have cut out the sentiment inside the card, but I honestly thought that kind of overwhelmed me. But on the back of cards, a lot of time there is a little image that coordinates with the front of the card. And so I took my stamp punch, I'm calling it a stamp punch, I don't know if that's what it is, but I'm calling it that, and I punched those out, because if you're trying to make a stamp, like let's look at a real stamp, because I keep those too. So you need a small image, and you don't always have a small image on the front of a card that you can turn into a stamp. So that little image on the back was perfect for making a stamp. Now the rest of that white, I did not let it go to waste, but I'm going to show it to you in a minute. I'm trying to stay in order. Like I kind of had this planned out. I'm trying to stay in order. So I will show you what I used all that white, that extra white with. Now it's white. I also did some die cuts of like polar bears, white deer. What else? What else did I cut out that was white? I have a Santa Claus die set. So anything white, but there's something that you need a lot of, and it worked really good for that. Okay, so going, easy. Let's talk easy. So here's a Christmas card front, and I typically make A2 cards. I have a lot of those. I find them on clearance. I can get 2 out of a sheet of paper, and so that's what I typically make. And like when I'm making a bunch at church, thinking about being cost effective, A2. All right, so I pulled out a card that's it's almost A2 size front. So look at this. So all I would have to do to this is trim it down. That's it. If I want to trim it a little bit smaller so that I have a little bit of border, trim it down, glue it on, I could be done, okay? But if I wanted to just be a little bit extra, up here I could add a sentiment, okay? Which, I don't even consider that extra, just adding a little sentiment. Could also, if I had a little tree that I could even fit over this, or a little tiny snowman, I could add it here and just give it that little bit of 3D. You could also add even just some snowflakes to it. Where I was talking about this, you get those tiny snowflakes. Those I think would be a good size to add to this, or even some jewels, okay? Now let me show you my jewels that I have tried. This was a set of nail jewels that came from the Dollar Tree. It was on like a display, and they are flat bottomed, so I can glue them on. Now if I could see them, it would help, but even looking at my camera right now, everything's fuzzy. So I really hope it's not fuzzy for you. I think it's because I'm so close to the camera. But those are some tiny, tiny jewels, because a lot of my jewels, I feel like they're too big sometimes. So depending on what I'm using them for, they're too big. So I like those little bitty ones, and I'll show you a card that I made with them. Okay, so that's, you can always do that. Even if it's not like this one's pretty close to that size, you can typically find things that you can cut off and trim it down. If there's a sentiment on it, maybe you're cutting the sentiment off, and then you can cut it out, mat it, and add it back to the card. So very basic, okay? And then you can kind of step it up a little bit. And this, I think this might have been like a money card, because it was a skinny card. It's really thick though, okay? And it was longer. And so this is actually what was at the bottom of the card that I cut off. This candy cane paper, I have been wanting to use it, and I had just not found the right like card front to, you know, add to it. This was a gift bag that got tore, but I love the paper so much that I cut it down and just saved the sheets, like the front and the back panels and the pieces that I could use. So card front. Then I added, there's some of those jewels from that nail kit, and then this is some shaker sequins that I had bought at I feel like maybe Michael's last year, and I bought them after Christmas, so they were like half price. And so I used some glue dots and attached those to the corner. And then, like I said, the bottom I added to the inside. Most of these I've not decorated the inside yet. I'm going to go back and do that at a later point. So there is another one. Again, I would say this is a fairly easy one. We're taking a card front, we're just matting it on some other paper and adding a little bit of embellishment. I have to get me something to drink. I'm losing my voice. So I said that I had saved all those whites and I had used them for something. Well, what I used them for was to cut layers for my new snow globe die. I say it's new. I think I got it after Christmas last year, but that was after Christmas. I really haven't used it a lot. And I really hadn't delved into making shaker cards. I've said on other videos that I really want to try to. And I will say that I have a shaker card kit. I've kind of been getting the stuff to go in the shaker cards, but I've not delved in. So I finally delved in with these Christmas cards. But you know, with a shaker card, you need a lot of layers. So this is the frame of it. And so those white pieces that were left for the cards, I cut lots and lots of my frames. So now I can layer these up and make my shaker cards, okay? Anything, like any card that was kind of solid too, then I took and I made my snow globe base. So I had a couple of cards that were gold, and look, it even has like this design on it. How cool is that? Even cooler than if I just took a regular sheet of gold and did it. So I made a lot of bases. Now I will say, this base is split, I feel like, so that the snow globe can go down in it. But, and maybe I'm using it the wrong way. I think this came off Temu, so you know there's no instructions or anything. But I typically don't do that. I'm typically just, because especially if this is thicker, then you can't stick it down in there. So I'm more doing it like this, and you'll see that. And you don't even have to use the base on that snow globe, okay? So this was a card. This was a picture on the card. These were words on the card. So I even took the words and was able to use them. This was a piece of cardstock that I pulled out that just kind of coordinated with it. And there's my shaker card. So now I will say this one, I tried to use foam tape, and that was a pain doing it on a circle. So I think this is the only one I did that on. The rest of them, I layered up my circles that I made. All right, so there's that one. This one I did make into a snow globe, and I put the base on it. So this is a recycled piece from a card. This is actually from a card too. I'm not sure if it's the same card, if it was a different card. And I think I added one of my stamps into the inside, okay? Look at this barn. And was that not perfect to put on this buffalo plaid background? So I'm loving these shaker cards. Now, here was one of the cards I cut my shaker card out of. Now, I could do another shaker card from this end if I wanted to, but I think the house is too big to go in the shaker card. That one, if it wasn't cut off, and I guess I could fussy cut it and mount it on something else, but think about then what's left of this. Look at that tag. How cute is that? And even over here, I think I would leave out part of the house and maybe do that. Or maybe that's what I should do with the shaker card. Like, not trying to get the whole house, just get part of the house. That would make a cute shaker card. Have to rethink that. So, you know, don't just cut one thing out and discard the rest. This even has a solid background. It's like this gray with like snow on it, snow falling. So you could even do some, you know, some solid colors out of that if it wasn't a picture on the front that you liked. Okay. Now, thinking of cutting out my snow globe, I think I showed you like my little things I had cut out from the back of cards. Look at this one, and I'm going to hold this one aside because I want to show you something else with that. What else? I also have some little stickers. So when I did if you look at my Goodwill haul from this summer, when I bought my punches, I got a ton of just like ephemera. Now they are old, which this is not a sticker, this is just, it's cardboard. But even the stickers are like, a lot of them are dried up and they don't stick anymore. These bells, these were in there. This holly, these wreaths. So these are all things I just have these little bits to just add as embellishments. I've got a couple of bows. I think I tied this one. I'm not sure where that one came from. I've got like real stamps that I saved off my Christmas cards from last year to embellish with, even though they're marked up. I still think they're cute. Maybe even to decorate the envelope with. I'm going to hand deliver these, so I'm not going to put a stamp on it. These are some stickers that came in a card kit, and I kind of had to redo it because it had got bent up. And I didn't put, there was a ton of these, so I put some back in the card kit when I made it and gave it, and then some I kept because there was just so many of them. More stamps, just some circles I've cut. You know, if it was a pretty design, you can punch a circle. This was a Designer Series paper that I had punched out some shapes. So just, you know, all kinds of bits and pieces to use to embellish your cards, and I've got those. Okay, and then let me show you my last die that I got, and it is this ornament die. Now it's kind of big, that kind of worried me, and I really I wish I had a separate die for this, but I can show you my workaround for that. But look at some of the ornaments that I have made from, oops, it's just a circle, from Christmas cards. Like, how cute are those? Again, you take your Christmas card, you kind of, you can kind of lay it out. See, I could make an ornament out of this. Wouldn't that be so pretty? I love it. I love it. Okay, again, this is my favorite die. But let me show you how I found the workaround. If you have one of these, or you get one, and again, it probably came off Temu. Let me show you with, I'll show you with this. So when you go to run it through your die cut, I took some strips of metallic paper, or whatever you want the top of your ornament to be. And I'll even run it through and show you. Yeah, sure, I'll make an ornament out of this. But I lay it up like this, and I definitely want to get it down low enough. I want to catch the top, get it down low enough. These strips are maybe like 1 inch wide. Let me run it through the die cut and I'll show you what it looks like. Being able to just pause my videos, and then I don't have to put them together. All right, so I just laid it there. Now, just running it through the die cut, it kind of makes it stick together, but it kind of comes down a little low. Now, if you're good with that, you could just glue it the way it is. But I usually take mine and just trim it a little bit on each side. And then I glue that back down. So there would be my ornament. And you know, if I'm not in the mood to make a card, I'm not in the creative mood to kind of put the things together in that, okay, here's my ornament, what background do I want, what embellishment do I want. If I'm not in the mood of that, then I can just go through and I can just make ornaments. If there's nothing on the back, which there's not on this one, sometimes they have, things written on the back of that part of the card. But it could also be a gift tag, okay? So think about that. So even if I don't use them on the front of a card, they're not going to go to waste. And how cute would it be to even give a set of these? Make 10 of them, put them in a little baggie, add ribbon, go ahead and add ribbon to them, and give those. You could even go ahead and write on the back, to and from, or if you have a stamp on the back. I'm not a stamper. I'm really not. So there's those. Now let me show you some of the cards that I have made with that. Look at this Santa sledding down a hill, okay? I did add string going over this one, and there's nothing fancy, like it's literally taped on the inside. And then I added a bow using a glue dot, okay? This is one of my stickers from Hobby Lobby. You know, it's clear, so it's on the white. I could do that one. I don't know, I love that. This is really busy, the red and white, and then on the craft background. I don't think I put anything on the inside. Nope, not yet. Look at this Santa. How like whimsical is this? It's even textured. I did puff this one up, okay? So I put some of that dimensional tape. This is, I had messed up some of my stickers from Hobby Lobby and I was trying to like cut them into strips to give away, and I cut some of the red border off. So I ended up punching this one out smaller. These are some embellishments I got at Goodwill. It's actually like a whole rope of them, and I just cut them apart and use them as embellishments. So, and I layered it on. This was actually another card front, this cream with the snowflakes. That was another card front that I layered it on. So that turned out really good. I think they all turned out good. I'm kind of partial to them. Okay, so this was actually a tree. It was these swirls of a tree, but I wanted to get all those swirls into my ornament, so I cut it upside down. And it's silver, it's got even some glittery red. I did a silver topper, a silver bow. I added one of my little embellishments that I had got this summer. It's a little holly leaf to the top, and it's on just a piece of, it's not even cardstock. It's actually some thinner paper. So that did not come from a card. You gotta add some other things in. Okay, these did not come from the same card, but I was super excited about how they matched up. And a lot of mine, I will say, I typically put the little bow at the top of some kind, whether it's ribbon, string. I didn't always do the string like running up, like it's hanging. But you've got baby Jesus in the manger, and then it says, Jesus is the gift, the perfect fit, that perfectly fits the size of every heart. And just the two blues match so good. And these words, I'm honestly not sure if I think they're silver, maybe a little bit of a gold hint. And then I took just some plain blue, and I used my snowflake embossing folder. So I do have a couple of Christmas embossing folders too. So let me show you, I found another card that was similar to this one, and guess what I'm going to make out of it? But look, it's all these Christmas words. It's got a little bit of holly on it. It's got some foil words in it, and I actually was able to, I had a similar one, but it was cream, so that one has a white background. This one's cream, and I got 2 cards out of it. How cute is that one? This one I did a snowflake. Again, this is some cardstock I had. I've had it for a while. It's some craft cardstock that's got gold designs on it, which both of these came from the same one. Used some more of those snowflake embellishments that were off that roll, and I've got some cream color twine that I got this at the thrift store too several years ago. It's cream color twine. It even came on this like holder. How cute is that? But it's got gold in it. So I used that at the top of both of these. This one I did not add the snowflakes to. I added another piece of that holly. Okay. And y'all, I do have a ton of embellishments that I've made, that I have bought, and I'm really trying to use them up. Okay, so last card I'm going to show you. This was this cutest Christmas card. I want to take out the envelope. And this came from another Christmas card. You can don't be afraid to cut off those sentiments and reuse them. But I definitely mix and match them. Like, this is not the sentiment off this card. So, but it fit, and so I put it on some red, make it pop. And then even there was a little guy that did not. He was not in the ornament, but I trimmed him down and put him on the inside. And also, if you remember from a minute ago, oh, I lost him. I have the little one that was on the back of the card. I was going to keep it out and show you, but I even have a little bitty one. I have a little bitty one that I can then even put on the envelope that goes with this. Oh, there he is. There he is. And this one doesn't have any glitter. So, but how cute will that be? Here's the card. Here's the envelope. And I can I'm not going to mail it. I'm not going to try to mail it with my fake stamp. But it would just look like it. I even got some stamps. Ugh, I digress. From Hobby Lobby the other day, they are like postage type stamp, like actual stamps. I know I said I'm not a stamper, but these, if they're not solid, it is gonna be all right. And I could even stamp on it, so I may do that. But I don't know. I really liked this card, and I kept, you know, working about what to do with it, and I was really happy about how it turned out. So guys, you know, I've got some other videos about recycling Christmas cards, so please go watch those. I did not use my punch, even though I showed it about making tags. But again, my other videos are very much about making tags. This would just be, I feel like, faster, and I could make bigger cards with it, or sorry, make bigger tags with this, because again, if I'm using my dies, they're all different sizes. So like if I want big tags, I have to run it through the die cut multiple times out of this with the same card. But y'all, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I know my son tells me I need to do that earlier. I need to do that like at the beginning of the video. So until next time, see you later.